I came to this religion as an adult by choice rather than by family tradition. To the best of my knowledge, I have not had a pagan ancestor for at least 1,000 years. So although I knew that many pagan groups honor the ancestors, I was loath to participate in this good custom. I feared that my own direct ancestors would disapprove of the religious choice I had made and might even be offended if I called their names in a pagan ritual. All of us have genetic ancestors. I came to understand that we also have intellectual and spiritual ancestors, and that these are not necessarily the same people. So first, let's take a moment to thank the spirits of all the non-relatives who nurtured our childhood selves, the school teachers, scout leaders, kindly neighbors, and parents of our friends, just as they gave us some things our own parents could not. So we receive from historical figures some things we cannot derive from the dead of our own families. Thank you so much. In case you were interested in more chants like that, those are actually from the chant library on the Earthspirit website. Some of them have YouTubes attached to them, but they all have the words. So if you were ever interested, that's where both of the things that I brought with me this morning came from. And before I begin my sermon, I would like to acknowledge that we are on lands that were taken, that do not belong to most of us. And I would like to acknowledge the spirit of the tribes and the First Nations whose land it actually is. And so, ancestors, now more than ever, the blessings of the ancestors be with you this sacred day of Samhain. As one of the readings this morning explained, the pagan holiday of Samhain is a potent time to honor and listen to our ancestors. But what do they have to offer? And how and why should we be open to this? Many cultures over the years have a day or a period of time, usually about this time of year, that focuses on ancestors and the blessings and wisdom they have for us. The Christian traditions of All Saints, All Souls, and All Hallows, the Mexican traditions of Dia de Muertos, the Day of the Dead, the broader traditions of ancient Roman ancestor worship, and modern-day popular festivals in China that have roots in ancestor worship. Humans have been communing with their ancestors for millennia, even before Anno Domini. But what can this mean to us today? In our age of science and technology and information at our fingertips, what could the dead possibly offer us? And just who are ancestors? What could they possibly know about the hectic, riven, chaotic lives we lead today? Pagans celebrate the Wheel of the Year, holiday of Samhain, in many ways and with many types of ancestors. There are the ancestors of blood, but there are also the chosen family ancestors, and then the larger figures who have influenced our lives in some way. Some traditions call these ancestors the mighty dead. Many also recognize, mourn, and commune with non-human ancestors, a beloved animal companion, a mighty tree, a source of water. All these things, too, can and shall pass. Just a little sidebar, I wanted to tell you about one of my mighty dead that I now think about at Samhain. On my father's side of the family, we can trace back to Deadwood, South Dakota. Yes, that Deadwood. So I was doing some reading. I have an aunt, Esteline, who actually wrote about growing up in Deadwood. And in it, she tells the story about a fire downtown. And there were a lot of brothels and bars and things downtown, and they had to evacuate everybody. So some of them were evacuated up to my great-grandfather's house. And there's a quote in there of two young ladies of the soiled dove variety that they used to call them back then, who were very grateful to my grandmother, great-great-grandmother, for allowing them even to sit and to give them a hot cup of something to drink. So in my looking into my ancestors, I decided to read about the soiled doves. And in doing that, I discovered a woman who I now number among my mighty dead. I have a niece who was born in China. My brother and his family went over to adopt her when she was 18 months old. She's now 16, and a couple of years ago, I discovered Donaldina Cameron. She was a lovely young New Zealand-born Scotch woman with clear blue eyes and a tall, slender build. She was soft-spoken and wore her long, slightly gray hair in a pompadour. Underneath her gentle bearing, however, was a courageous woman who did not know the meaning of the word fear when it came to saving the young enslaved Chinese girls in the 1800s. She soon knew every twisted alley in Chinatown. Donaldina learned who the underground people were, and with the help of the law and sympathetic Chinese, she was almost always successful in her raids upon the Oriental houses of prostitution. Once she was given a clue, Donaldina was off at full speed to run it down. She never gave up. This exceptional woman was known by two nicknames. She was called Lo Mo, meaning beloved mother, by the girls who wanted to show the affection they felt for her. On the other hand, the slave dealers and underground called her Fan Kai, or the White Devil, a woman they both feared and despised. These unscrupulous flesh peddlers told the already abused girls that she was a she-devil who would drink their blood and show them no mercy. But as word of her daring raids spread throughout every miserable brothel and crib in Chinatown, the girls realized that Donaldina was their friend. Donaldina is one of my mighty dead. And while many pagans commune with ancestors and divinate for their wisdom at all times of the year, this time of year, when in this northern hemisphere, the light is waning and the cold is coming and the crops are in, modern pagan practices and the wheel of the year are loosely based on an agrarian northern European calendar. Now is the time that it is said that the veils between the worlds are thin. The veils between the worlds of the living and the dead. So what could the dead possibly have to say to us, and why should we try to listen? I'm sure many of you already have an altar to your beloved dead in your homes. You may not call it that, or you may, but pictures and mementos of those we love who have passed through the veil are, with many of us, a background hum that we often take for granted. We no longer really see it, and it becomes a hum in the background of our lives that we take for granted. But what if we took time to pay attention, to sit and listen, to tell stories of our beloved dead so that they still live by our memories? In those moments, you never know what can come back from beyond the veil. A feeling, an idea, an old forgotten memory. Pagans often remember their ancestors at this time of year with a dumb supper, usually celebrated with a small group. A dumb supper is for those of our loved ones who have passed through the veil. It is celebrated by setting a ritual place at a table and serving a meal of their favorite foods. One place at the table being set and served that no living person sits at. One by one, stories are told of the loved ones, their favorite foods shared. Pet companions are not left out. Favorite treats and bowls are often set out too. Personal note, if you do have a group doing this, I have a hint for you. Check beforehand what folks are bringing for their favorite food. One year I had 5 folks to my tiny apartment and they all brought bacon and sausage, the forbidden treat of all their loved ones. Lesson learned. I used the word divinate previously on purpose. In addition to telling stories about loved ones, or how the ones we each may call the mighty dead have come into our lives and have influenced us, Samhain is also a time for divination. The veils are thin. The lines of communication are thought to be clearer. Now you may be thinking Milton Bradley Ouija boards, but divination doesn't have to be scary. The word necromancy has gotten a bad rap over the years, pun intended. Divination is a gentle experience and can be accomplished by meditation as well as by using a divination method. The ones who have passed who truly care about us or whom we truly admire can be sources of inspiration and validation for us all. We have so few quiet moments in our lives, unless we make them. I suggest you explore using this sacred time of year to share stories, to remember, to sit and listen. As we say this time of year, what is remembered lives. Blessed be.
Thank you, Jennifer. There's a tree I pass on the golf course that always makes me think of my mother. We take time now for living and deceased, those in our hearts, to share either our deep joys or our sorrows and concerns. And if you have something you would like to share in this capacity, a microphone will be brought to you, and thankfully Kay Judd will light a candle for us. I want to make a note that this is not a time for personal or political announcements, and in many ways we show our caring for each other by staying true to the purpose that this is a time to be briefly but really sincerely sharing our deep concerns, challenges, and joys. There will be an opportunity afterwards. We do have a little snack outdoors that people can go into greater depth or just talk about other things. A very great joy that we feel is when we have visitors at All Souls. Is there anyone today who's visiting us for the first time? All right, well, for those of us who are here, is there someone who would like to share a concern, challenge, sorrow, or a joy or a celebration that they'd like to speak aloud? If you do, just raise your hand and Dan will come to you with a microphone. Looks like Russ has one in the back.
Russ always has one in the back. Seriously, could you light a candle for joy for me, for discovery? Seriously, discovery of how unburdened I feel now by a letting go of a relationship that was not serving me well. The joy of discovery of by chance finding a photograph of the house on Federal Street that back before this church was built was meant to be discussed very seriously about being taken down and our church being built on Federal Street. And lastly, discovery of the good memories that many people around here have of the fire station that's being taken down. And I'm getting enough material that I think I'm going to be able to write something for the newspaper. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nancy, and I just wanted to have you light a candle for my parents. As an old person, I'm finally coming to the realization that I had really, really wonderful parents, and thank you for reminding me with your wonderful sermon.
This week, Max and his partner Christina closed on their house in Kingston, New York. That was a really long process, and I'm just glad that they're able to move on And it's a big milestone in his life, so I want to recognize it.
Hi, I'm Sandra, and I'd like to just light a candle of thanksgiving for the memory of my father. I love the last line of Jennifer's thing, that what is remembered is alive today. My father was committed to starting Boy Scout troops, and I lived 6 places by the time I was 12 because we'd moved to a town where there wasn't a Boy Scout troop, and he'd start one, and the second year he'd teach the fathers how to run it, and the third year we'd move to a town that didn't have a Boy Scout troop. That's how I grew up, in the presence of this person who just wanted to teach young boys how to make a better world. He'd be appalled at what's happened to the Boy Scouts today, but in my heart, he lives as a model of someone who served and traveled and reached out to strangers. I think he taught me more than anyone how to make friends because he was so good at it. So I just want to honor him today in the spirit of Halloween. Thank you.
Anyone else care to share? All right, then, Kay, would you light a candle of concern for my friend Monique, who's had just a dizzying series of calamities and somehow keeps managing to right herself, and also a candle for my daughter, who could rival Monique in the Calamity Jane capacity, but who likewise has great resilience and managed to co-lead her first online Zoom facilitation session, which is a really important milestone in her life, so big cause for celebration. Okay, I'd like to invite us into a time of silent reflection, just in your own way. Take a moment to go within, to be quiet, to feel whatever you have inside of you. Spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and our hearts toward one another, seeking to hold all in our joys, our concerns, and our sorrows, both spoken and unspoken. Let us open our minds and hearts to the place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of pain and the soft, gentle coming of love. Amen and blessed be. So it's customary that we conclude with our beloved prayer to friends, which you should find as an insert in the front of your hymnal, and many of you can find right inside your own heart. Julia will play the melody. We can sing it in our minds and our spirits, but not out loud. And now for our benediction, I'd like to call back to the pulpit, sort of an encore for Jennifer, please.
This is a beloved piece from the pagan community called The Charge of the Goddess. Listen to the words of the Great Mother, who of old was called Artemis, Astarte, Dione, Melusine, Aphrodite, Caradwin, Diana, Bree, and many other names. Excuse me. Whenever you have need of anything, once a month, and better it be when the moon is full, you shall assemble in some secret place and adore the spirit of me who is queen of all the wise. Sing, feast, dance, make music, and love all in my presence, for mine is the ecstasy of the spirit, and mine is also joy on earth. For my law is love unto all beings. Mine is the secret that opens the door of youth. Mine is the cup of wine of life that is the cauldron of Caradwin, that is the holy grail of immortality. I give the knowledge of the Spirit eternal, and beyond death, I give peace and freedom and reunion with those who have gone before. Hear the words of the star goddess, the dust of whose feet are the hosts of heaven, whose body encircles the universe. I, who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the waters, I call upon your soul to arise and come unto me. For I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe. From me all things proceed, and unto me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. And know, you who seek to know me, know that seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. For if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire. Blessed be.
Thank you, Julia. If you ever get a chance, look at the order of service, all the cool stuff connected to Julia's work and the opportunities and things she's involved in. Thank you all for being here. There will be apparently a little snack and a little time for greeting outdoors. And again, a special thanks to you, Jennifer, for parting the veils for us. Go in peace.
Hi, Dan. How are you? Can you hear me, Dan?
Maybe on camera.
Hello to all the home folks. I really liked the job he did, videography today with showing us the rose window as it really is. I've been looking forward to that.
It reminded me of someone giving a sermon of the history of the rose window. I can't remember who it was. Do you remember, Lee?
I don't remember, but I do remember the contents.
Yeah.
Check 1, 2. You hear me?
Yep. Now we can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, great videography. I really like the
Yeah.
job you did with the rose window. You really brought it into focus. Good job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I
I
enjoyed
thought you'd
it.
like that. I think John Remus did a sermon about the rose window
Okay.
Oh,
about
that's
15, 16 years ago.
I remember the sermon. We didn't remember who did it. Good job.
right.
Yeah, nice videography. Enjoyed that.
And let Rob know what a good job he did too. He put a lot of time and preparation into that. He did an excellent job.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Hello, Alice. I'm Joan Pillsbury.
Yeah, you're on.
Hi.
Yeah, there you go. Hi, Alice.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. I'm a friend of Kate Mason's.
Oh, wonderful.
Where are you zooming from?
Bellingham, Mass.
Oh,
Bellingham.
where is
I'm
Bellingham?
not familiar with that town.
Milford, Franklin,
Oh, yes. I know where Milford. It's on 495.
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, South
Couple
Shore,
hours
yeah.
away.
Welcome.
Thank you. I enjoyed the service. Excellent.
Yes.
We'll
You're
see you
welcome.
guys next Sunday
You're
as
welcome.
well.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Good. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alice, did Bellingham lose power this last week?
No, we were lucky.
Good.
Yeah, we did pretty well in all the thing. As I was going along the Deerfield River, I noticed that the fields are totally flooded, where they usually have. They're growing turf this time of year and flowers and other stuff, and there were big puddles in the fields, which is unusual for this time of year.
It is.
I don't know. We had to take our rain gauges out because, if it freezes, they'll crack. So there was that. Is Kate? Kate? Alice, let me just see if I can get Kate to say hello. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yeah, we had that. Didn't we have that happen?
What's that?
Our rain gauge
Oh,
got cracked.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, there's something called super glue.
Yeah, of course. Does that affect the calibration, or it's just in setting?
No, I just put it in the crack, and
Oh, good.
it's a very simple rain gauge. It's basically a plastic tube
Yeah.
in being held by a ceramic gnome.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not very
We don't need it to be completely precision.
right.
Oh. Good.
It's not scientifically precise.
Okay.
But we had at one point we had 4 inches, and then there were another 2, and I don't know. I wasn't really keeping track, but I remember those 2. Hi,
Was that
Kate.
just
Hi,
in the
Kate.
past 2 days?
I guess I can't take my mask off.
Right.
How come?
Gary,
How are you?
John. I'm good. Oh, I'm dressed. Solar power.
Oh, nice.
Good for you.
in case you were wondering.
Well, nice. I enjoyed it. It was excellent.
Oh, good, Alice. Well, I'll forward it to you next week.
Definitely. Thank you.
And Link, good to see you. Haven't
Good to
seen
see
you
you,
in a
Kate.
while. This
I
is like two different clubs, isn't it?
Sure is.
The Zoom club and the. I think at the end of November we're going to be on Zoom. We're going to do a full Zoom after Thanksgiving.
That's good.
Dan's getting really good at videography, and
I
Rob did a
know.
really good job today too. Very good job.
And you got to see the YouTube chants, which we
Yep.
didn't.
Right.
Right.
But next week I'm going to be the techie because Dan's preaching at 2 churches.
Oh my.
So we have to have the subpar techie.
Oh, now.
I forgive you already.
Just sub works. It can be a sub to get the part.
I'll see how many cameras he gives me. Is there one back there still today? Not this week. Yeah.
No, but he was moving that one around.
Cool.
All right,
So,
well, I'm gonna head out. I actually haven't eaten breakfast yet, so I'm getting pretty hungry,
Uh-oh.
but
Okay.
thanks for having the Zoom to be,
were there 7 people earlier? I heard 7. 9.
I think so.
Cool. All right.
All righty. I'll let you guys go.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, Al.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, Link.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Kate. Bye, Dan.
Good luck
Bye,
next
Joan.
week.
Thanks. Should I? You got it. Look at this. How am I going to do this, Dan?
This is way too much stuff for you have to do. Okay, first got to end the YouTube.
Everybody's gone.
Yep. Oh, first I got to go over here.